Time of the day, everyone. My name is Alex, and this is Generative AI Crash Course. Today, we will briefly define artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. Then, we will discuss generative and discriminative artificial intelligence, and finally, give a definition of generative AI. This is the first video in a brand new series called Gen AI Crash Course, so stay tuned. Section 1, AI, ML, and Deep Learning. Now let's talk about AI history. AI history started approximately in 1943 with McCulloch and Pick's mimicking the functionality of a biological neuron. It means AI is 80 years old. Jeez. In front of you, you can see the picture of a neuron. And neuron is the basic processing unit in the mammal brain, electrically active cell. A neuron consists of dendrites, short cells, outgrowth receiving electric signals, axons, a long cell outgrowth transmitting the output of soma or a cell body that processes the information and makes a decision, stimulate, inhibit, or transmit electric signal further firing other neurons through axons and synapses. See synapses, those dots here. Synapses are point of connection of current neuron to others. So a neuron is just a unit of a large network of neurons or neural network. Some synapses have negative or inhibitory effect, whereby the firing of the input neurons makes it less likely that the output neuron will fire. The extent to which one neuron can cause another to fire depends on the strength of a synapse, and it is changes in this strength that represents a key mechanism whereby the brain can store information and learn from experience. Sounds familiar, right? So same it was for scientists. They created a math model of a neuron that you can see in front of you. Now to the right of a neuron, it consists of a linear combination of inputs denoted with x's. Those inputs are weighted, i.e. multiplied by some coefficients, which are denoted with w's, and then those inputs are summarized. So we have a sum of weighted inputs. It is the same as inputs of many neurons through dendrites to a soma or a cell body here, depicted in the sum of the signals. And then it makes a decision through a nonlinear function depicted here, f of x. Here it's a simple step function. It is a zero or not, like transmit or not or not. Transmit one if a sum of these inputs is larger than zero, and inhibit if the sum of these inputs are less than zero. And then stacking many of these elementary mathematical neurons hope to have artificial intelligence. Of course, to some extent, but hope to see more in the future. So the guy who invented this was Rosenblatt, and this thing is called perceptron. Now let's talk about the definitions of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So artificial intelligence is anything which enables machines mimicking human behavior. Literally, when machines are talking, listening, reading, writing, all of this set of technologies is called artificial intelligence. Very broad, yes, I know, I agree. Machine learning adds statistics to this and is more about approach to build AI systems. And this approach says that it is very hard to code them in a straightforward manner. It means coding of all ifs and elses and taking into account every possible obstacle. It is too difficult. So what people start doing is that they coded meta algorithms, which learns from data inputs and desired outputs and training the model behind. So machine learning is a technique which uses statistical methods to enable machines learn from data and improve with experience. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning, which uses multi-layer neural network for the modeling tasks. So definitive feature of deep learning is using deep neural network, which you can see in front of you. There is no official day of the birth of deep learning, but let's say it was year 1997 where the first LSTM was released. Summarize, our vocabulary will be the following. Artificial intelligence is a set of algorithms that follow the human intelligence and skills. Walking, talking, looking at things, understanding things. Machine learning learn from data without being explicitly programmed. It means we don't code all the ifs and elses. Rather, we build an algorithm which learns which if and elses should be there. And a deep learning is a subset of machine learning. It means it also learns from data where neural networks with many layers are used. Before we go in deep into generative AI, let's first talk about what is generative AI and what is discriminative AI. Discriminative AI is represented by classification, regression, and clustering. These tasks are focused on learning or deducting, in case of clustering, a decision boundary, which you can see in front of you, or approximating a function in case of regression. In case of regression, this will be a learned function. For example, on this chart, each data point is an object. For simplicity, we used dogs and cats example. So each dot is either dog or cat. And this decision boundary separates dogs from cats. Discriminative AI separates data points or fits them with a function. Having been properly trained, a discriminative algorithm learns to distinguish between dogs and cats. In this case, it can do this for future cases. Generative AI, on the other hand, learn probability distribution rather than a boundary. A properly trained generative AI algorithm becomes the model of the distribution itself. Having a distribution, we can sample from it. Can you see these new data points here? Right? Those are ugly dogs and cats generated. So rather than the real ones that you saw the dots here, now we will learn the distribution and we can sample from this distribution and create new samples. I hope you got the idea. This is how ChatGPT was built. To summarize, generative AI uses a learned probability distribution of the trained data to generate new samples. But what is exactly generative AI? I mean, technically. As you see, the landscape has changed. On top of this pie, there is a generative AI. So generative AI is a subset of deep learning, means we still use deep neural network. The day of birth of generative AI was around 2017 with a groundbreaking paper, Attention is All You Need. It introduced a new deep learning architecture that is currently the basis of all generative models, including LLM. This architecture is called Transformer. Generative AI refers to deep learning models that can generate text, sound, images, video, and other content data based on the data they've been trained on. Here you can see a transformer architecture. It consists of elements such as embeddings, multi-head attention, normalization layers, feed-forward neural networks, linear layers, and softmax layers. We will talk about transformer architecture and attention in the following video. Subscribe and stay tuned.